Hello, BIOL1009. My name is Dr. Charlie Willis. I'm going to be your instructor for this semester. And this is my chance to kind of give you an introduction to the course structure and what to expect from week to week. So, as an online course, it's structured very differently than a traditional course. And so there is a bit of a learning curve to understanding, where things are and what your personal expectation should be from week to week. And so I'm going to walk you through a typical week now to kind of give you an overview of what it will look like. So at this point, you've come to the course website. Here we are. You've checked out the syllabus. You've looked at the course schedule. And you've read through the course guide to give you an overview of the course and taken the orientation quiz to make sure that you have a basic understanding of what our expectations for this course are. And so what does a typical week look like? Well, let's scroll down. Before we get to the first week, however, let me just emphasize these two venues of communication. Anything I have to share with the class in general, be it a change in assignment date or a reminder of an upcoming exam, will be posted in the news and announcements. Likewise, anything you have to share with the class, a question about an assignment, a question about a lab, a question related to a technical issue, you can post that question in the course Q&A, and this allows everyone in the course to see that question because, you never know. Other students might have the same question. They might also have an answer to that question. So if you see a question in the Q&A that you think you know the answer to or you have a solution for, please post an answer. You're more than welcome to do it. I also check the Q&A daily and try to respond in a timely manner to make sure that all of the questions that are posted there are answered. And then, of course, you can always email me if you have a more specific question to the lab you're working on, or a more private question related to grading. Anything along those lines, please reach out to me via email. I'm always I try to be available as much as possible. You can also communicate with me via Google Hangout or even come by my office. Because it's an online course, I don't interact with you that much. So I try to make myself as available as possible, either via email or, if you want to schedule some office hours. So this is where to come to find information, updates about the course. And then this is what a typical week looks like. So for week one, we have a bit of additional information in that I provide some overview in terms of how to use the online textbook, the e-textbook, and this Learn Smart activity, which I'll talk about a bit more about in a second. And then there's some more information about getting set up in your groups. So group work in this course is extremely important. We emphasize group work on this course because it's been shown that students that work in groups do better than students that work individually. And this is especially true for online courses because for the most part, you're very isolated in this course. You do all your work on your own time, and you don't have much interaction with either me or your peers personally. And that can lead to students getting confused or not having a chance to really check their knowledge. And so by asking you to work in groups to complete activities and labs, it really gives you a chance to kind of communicate what your understanding is and to help other students correct their understanding, or maybe they'll help you correct your understanding. That's really the power of a group. But for a group to be successful, you have to establish good lines of communication and good time management. So for week one, you really want to put your best foot forward, introduce yourself on Flipgrid, start setting up a schedule with your group in terms of when you're available to communicate, when you want to get assignments done, what's your general outline or, sort of idea for how you think this course is going to work for your own schedule, and then trying to mix those schedules together. I can't emphasize it enough. It's really crucial for being successful in this course. So do your best to get going on that. And if you have any questions or any concerns, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help facilitate groups getting set up, given how important it is. So what does a typical week look like without this introductory stuff? Well, it looks like this. This is Module 1. This is really the first week of content that you're going to be dealing with. And a week is structured to include 3 activities and some number of lab activities that can range from no labs. Some weeks we don't have any labs. Some weeks we have up to 3 different lab assignments due, okay? And they aren't all major assignments, but they are, you have to make sure that you're staying on top of them. So what I generally tell students in terms of how to manage a week is to start with the overview. Take a look at the weekly overview. This gives you an idea of what we'll be talking about, what we're going to be learning in terms of key concepts and terms. And this is really a good basis for your study guide or taking notes for a week. Start with the overview and then do the Learn Smart activity reading guide. So the Learn Smart activity is really a guided reading of the e-textbook. You can do it a couple different ways. You can read the e-textbook and then do the Learn Smart activity, or you can read the e-textbook while you're doing the Learn Smart activity. But what the Learn Smart activity really is an interactive quiz of the material in the textbook. And as you do the Learn Smart activity, based on how comfortable you are with the material, it will ask you additional questions, or it will ask you fewer questions. So it's really responsive to your understanding. And to that end, it's a really powerful tool for you to assess how well you understand the material. And so I strongly encourage you to take advantage of that and take it seriously. Don't just try to breeze through it as fast as possible. The next major assignment due each week is a homework assignment that you do with your group. And there's between 10 and 20 questions that you and your group have to answer. Generally, groups parse out these questions. Sally does questions 1 through 5, Jimmy does questions 6 through 10, etc., etc. And then you come together and look at the answers to your questions and make sure that they're okay before you submit. So this involves group management, group time management, so make sure that everyone knows which questions they're answering and that they answer them in a timely manner. And then finally, the last assignment due each week is a quiz. That's an individual assignment, a quiz you take online to assess your understanding of the material. Generally, I recommend you do this after you complete your homework assignment and your Learn Smart activity because it's really testing how well you understand the material you learned in those 2 activities. There's additional reference material. There's video lectures from Robert Brooker, who wrote the textbook, and slides from those video lectures. That is also a great source. If you don't really understand some of the material, you might want to watch those video lectures, or if you want to do a review session, those are also a great source of review material. It's up to you. We provide them as an additional resource. The primary resource is the Learn Smart activity reading book. In addition to these homework activities, these lecture activities are what I'm calling them, learning activities, lecture activities, is a lab activity. And so every week you'll be doing a different part of a lab. We have 6 labs over the entire semester. Some span 1 week, others span 4 weeks. So you want to pay attention to what's due for that particular lab, that particular week. And so I highly recommend that you read what the lab assignment is at the beginning of the week and make sure that you're prepared to complete it by the end of the week, okay? You don't want to be rushing on a Tuesday evening to finish up a lab that takes several days to run, okay? That's just not going to work. A key to this class is time management. I can't emphasize it enough. You really need to, we don't have regular lecture meetings or lab meetings, and so you really need to take the time at the beginning of each week, every Wednesday, to read through what is due that week and make sure that you schedule your time over the course of that week to make sure you get it done, okay? At the beginning of this course, as you're getting used to it, if you have any questions about how to do that or best practices, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help kind of orient you in terms of this material, but overall, this is how a course will look like. Learn Smart activity, homework assignment with your group, a quiz that you take individually, and then a lab activity that you will be doing by yourself or with your group. In either case, you want to make sure you manage your time to make sure you complete your responsibility for that lab that week. So that's it. That's how the course is going to be. That's how the course is going to work. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Otherwise, I will be in touch with you later.